Here's Stephen A. Smith and James Carville. James Carville is tired of what Stephen A. Smith has been saying. And he flat out calls him out. Play that clip, Rob, if you could, with James Carville, and then watch this one here. So Stephen A.'s been very vocal, calling out Kamala, calling out everybody, calling out everyone on the left. And James here, he's having a sip of milk or some called beer. And go ahead, Rob, play the clip.
Get you a warm glass and shut the hell up.
He don't know his ass.
No, go back a little bit. That was Adam. That's not James.
Can't tell the difference.
Go ahead.
When it comes to politics, he don't know his ass from a hole in the ground. He's on that running his goddamn mouth about how he may have to run as a Democrat because there's nothing left of the Democratic Party. There's no talent. Stephen A., are you shitting me? I mean, you say you're friends with Wes Moore and you say you're friends with Josh Shapiro. Well, I'm friends with both of them. I think they're really extraordinary, talented people. I got news for you, dude. There's 6 or 7 other people in the Democratic Party that are just that talented. So before you start running your fucking mouth off about politics, a topic of which you really don't know anything about, you ought to sit back and think about it and call some people and run it by them. But don't let your political stupidity stand in the way of your outspoken and I think often insightful views when it comes to American sports, of which I think you are an expert at. And
pause it
if
right
you
there.
know where,
Okay, now go to Stephen A. and his response.
How condescending.
Yeah, let Stephen A. play. Go for it. Rob, how long is it?
I cut out all the fat. This gets right to the
Okay,
portion.
go for it.
Be so rude. You know, dropping F-bombs and going off like that. I mean, I know that's your nature. I understand that, but let's just say 2 can do that, you know. I mean, if you really wanted to get raw, ain't nobody hiding from that. I could be that way. It's just that my mama taught me to respect my elders. And you are 80 years of age, if I remember correctly. And I'm trying to be respectful, so I'm not going to come at you the way that you came at me. I thought that was completely unnecessary. That's number 1. Number 2, I religiously say I'm no political aficionado. I religiously say I don't know politics like that. I read. I watch the news. I'm a conscientious observer. But I do have to ask you a question, Mr. James Carville, albeit rhetorically. You do know that you're talking to a voter, right? Mm-hmm. Could that be one of the reasons why y'all lost? Just a thought. Because you sound like one of those old curmudgeons that want things to stay or be the way that they used to be, and you're resentful, harboring an abundance of animosity because you're not being heard. That's not Stephen A. Smith's fault, sir. That's that damn Democratic Party that I was talking about.
Okay. So now, Stephen A., how far are you going to go with
You
this?
see, they shouldn't listen to me. Do you realize, James Carville, that means they shouldn't have listened to you either? Yeah. Which makes no sense because we were both right. Because guess what? What I was saying is what you were saying. I saw you on Fox News. I saw you on CNN. I saw you on your podcast before the election.
Yeah.
Where the hell you think I got some of the stuff from? When you were talking about the Democratic Party, I'm making that up.
You can pause it right
I'm
there.
making.
All right. So, Stephen A., they don't like you. It's that simple, bro. They don't like you. The same way they don't like RFK, who's now in Trump's administration. The same way they didn't like Tulsi. The same way they don't like Rogan. The same way they don't like Musk. The same way they don't like any of us. Because either you get in line or shut the hell up, is what he's saying. I wouldn't say that to you. That's what he's saying. And that's not in your nature. But if you're going to shine in that party, you have to lock it up and listen to what they got to tell you. And it's not in your DNA. It's just not. That's not in your DNA. So what are you going to do? Create a new community that's been tried. They don't like your type. So you have a couple choices. 1, try to fight it and see what they do. You ain't going to get their money. You're not. You need the money. You're not going to get their money. You don't have that kind of money. You need billions. You need $1.5 billion. They're not going to give you the money. None of those guys are going to support you financially. They're not. Because the candidates on the left are usually bought by someone with favors. Yesterday I had Nicolas Ferreira here from Brazil. And he's talking about how this guy named Kassab, Gilberto Kassab, who is the leader of the Worker Party in Brazil, who used to be the mayor of São Paulo, who is the most powerful man in Brazil right now because he is the leader of the political party that's on the center. And the center means you give them money and favors, they'll do anything you want them to do, but they have a lot of control. Right now they have a lot of control. He says, my worry is the closer he gets to Bolsonaro, he's going to ask for a favor. I wonder how big that favor is and how dirty that favor is, that it contradicts our values and principles. Are you going to do that? I don't know if you will. So you know what's going to happen to you? You're eventually, when you're in your room, in your house, by yourself, nobody else around you, you're eventually going to be talking to your mom, because I know how much she means to you, and having a conversation saying, what do I do, Mom? Do I sit this one out? Do I trust my gut and go? What do I do? If you came as a center-right candidate, which I think where you are, you know you are. You're not going to say it publicly, but you know what I'm saying? You're like a center-right guy, dude. You know what I'm saying? If you came out as a center-right guy, I think it'd be interesting to see you run in 2028 and see what happens. So I think if you run on the left, they will destroy you because they do not like your type. They like Biden type. They like the yes man. You ain't that guy. So what are you going to do? You're going to keep playing this? You're working your way into being a conservative here very soon because you're showing a lot of conservative tendencies. You are. But I know the fear of what could happen if you do something like that. Anyways, that's my thoughts on this. James Carville going after, this is kind of like when a young guy, because Stephen A. is young in politics, and James 80 years old. Yeah. It's when a young guy comes up in business, and I was coming up, and I would start getting vocal and all this stuff, and I never forget, when I wrote you ever hear me talk about when I wrote my Jerry Maguire 16-page, 16 points, whatever? One of my old friends, I've been trying to look for this proposal that I wrote for 15 years. Was it me? Remember me, you, and Jen were walking, and I think you I told you the story. It was amazing. That's right. I told you. You found it. Dude, last week, an old friend whom name I will keep to myself, but you all know who he is, sent me this letter that I wrote to him. That's it? Look, this is the letter I sent him March 15th, right? But he added the proposal. Dude. This is the entire proposal I wrote, okay, as a young buck coming up. Yeah. Do you know what happened when I wrote this? And all the points and ideas? Everybody, who do you think you are? And da-da-da-da-da, pa-pa-pa-pa-pa, some lady named Susan. All these people losing their minds. I said, okay, this is what you want to. I never wanted to leave. I never wanted to leave. Never. I love the company. I love the people. That's the same exact thing Stephen A. is going. He eventually is going to be forced to leave that party. They don't know how to control him. They can't stand him. They can't stand people like him. Cannot stand people like Stephen A. People like Stephen A. in the Democratic Party are hated. They're not welcomed. Period. Full stop. What are you going to do? And here's my question. Why would he, for instance, let's say down the road, Stephen A., who I admire the guy. I think he's one of the most important and dopest sports analysts, and now that he's shifting to politics, it's fantastic. But like, what would make you even at this point, like, go to the Democratic Party to save it for what? Meaning, Adam, their core, their base is what? What do you as a Democratic Party, what are you offering? Race baiting, divisive, open border, giving money to everybody. There was no way that he would. If he would, and to try to come in and change the party, you nailed it. There's no way that they would do it. And Carville, can you imagine? This is the beauty about being Democrat on Democrat hate. A white guy sitting there with a beer, drunk, shit, stupid, cussing, all that. And nobody called him a racist. If that was a Republican sitting there talking to a black man like that, it would have been headlines. Over here, it's cool because it's James Carville and he votes Democrat. But I think Stephen A., if he ran, how about this? He would be a breath of fresh air in any political. That's the guy that you would want because you know his heart is in a good place. You know his mother raised him right, who said that she would actually vote for Trump if she was here. But that party, bro, that party, I believe, my opinion, is done for a very long time, especially with what's happening right now. They're cooked. Yeah, I think he could really re-energize the base. That could be incredible. But to Vinny's point, I definitely don't think that's going to happen. It's reminiscent of like when they're saying, oh, we need a Joe Rogan of the left. It's like, you had a Joe Rogan of the left. His name was Joe Rogan, and you ruined that. You alienated him, just like they're doing to all of these other people.
Like the saying, the left eats themselves is so apparent right now.
It's bizarre that you hear constant reports of them saying, like, internally, like, we're in full-blown panic mode. The Democratic Party's a disaster right now. We don't know what to do. We don't know what the next move is. And then they're spitting in the face of somebody who's super charismatic, one of the best-spoken people in the world that wants to be on their side, is trying to do everything possible to be on their side, but then they go out and criticize them like this. And like you said, like, I think that looked racist, too, but they don't. They never mention that. And,
Of
like,
course.
But, yeah, so, like, what extent are they willing to go to? Like, they're, like, how do they expect to fix it if they only are willing to tolerate people who will just do whatever they say? Like, they ruined Bernie Sanders, and he's going against Hillary Clinton. They and I always say, if Tulsi or RFK ran against Trump, they definitely would have won. Like, do you guys disagree with that?
You think
If Tulsi ran as a Democrat or if RFK ran as a Democrat on the ticket against Trump, I think either of them would have beaten Trump.
Anybody would have won.
Well, hold up. But I think if it started early, but before the Biden and all that nonsense, if Tulsi ran, she would give him a run for the money because Trump wouldn't have been able to talk all the crap that he talked about all of them to her.
Look at what Kamala is, and she's like, she almost won. Like,
I mean, they put enough money behind her that she could have won. But if they put that money, $1 billion behind Tulsi, soldier, American, patriot.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. So, who's more loyal to their party values? Are Democrats more loyal to Democrats or Republican more loyal to Democrats?
Democrats to Democrats.
Okay, so why do you say that?
Because no matter what, they are going down with the ship because their ideology
vote
and
blue, no matter who.
No matter who.
Okay.
Great one.
I mean, when we take a look at what Obama was saying, it seems like the messaging has changed very much. So, do you mean like historically, or do you mean like right now?
No,
you know?
I'm saying today.
Okay, today.
Yeah, Democrat for sure.
Because watch this. Okay, so Republicans were known as a party of the war, right?
Yeah.
It was generally a party. Guess what Trump's like? Nah,
Right.
we're not doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So who you think you are, Rhinos and McCains and everybody and the Bushes and the Romneys, and they hate this guy, right? No, I don't. I think we can be Republican and not be a party of war. Okay. So, you know, we're gonna be a party of this. No, I think this is how it's gonna be. Listen, if we are able to get some money out and I think we need to give a refund back to people because we effed up spending their money. So what has happened is Republicans are like, it's actually a better idea. Can you prove it? I'm open to it. Democrats are like, no, Stephen A., that may be a better idea, but you have to listen to us because we know. And you can't break through in that party. You cannot break through in that party. They're not letting that happen. The Republicans had a massive breakthrough because they had a guy with a big backbone that stood up against them. And what he had money. He had fame. He had money. He had street smart. He came up in a city filled with gangsters, tough guys, some criminals, guys in real estate that you have to do business with, that they're going to try to bully you, put you in your place. And he made it. That develops thick skin. So he has additional resources that Stephen A. has the platform. He's got it. He talks, people will talk about it. He doesn't have the resources, the levels that you need to tell the other side, F off, I can do it on my own. He doesn't have that kind of money. Someone has to back him up. Who? Who knows? But I think the other side will gladly welcome him. Yeah. And if he came in, you know what would happen? He would still be able to disagree, meaning he would still say, I don't know if I agree with the president on this. I don't know if fool, no problem. But he would still be welcomed. Rogan doesn't agree with everything. Musk doesn't agree. These guys don't. Bobby Kennedy definitely doesn't agree with everything with Trump. Yeah. Tulsi doesn't agree with everything with Trump. But guess what? Come on down. As long as we're here together, we can make this work. We don't have to agree on 100%. The left is, you have to agree with us on 100%. You can't have people like that.
No.
You cannot have people like Stephen A. shine on that side. Adam, and then we'll go to the next story.
I don't see Stephen A. becoming a Republican. I do see him being an independent. I do think he's shared with us his mother was more conservative. I know you're saying you can see him being center-right. I see him being center. And I think the Democrats need more people like Stephen A. to bring them back to the center. Like, if you're a Democrat, you're the Democratic Party right now, you guys need to take a long look in the mirror and be like, who in the hell are we? We are the party of birthing people, not mothers anymore. What the hell? So you talked about it's so hard to break through. It's so hard to break through. Well, Bernie almost did it. And they're like, nah, Bernie.
Get in line.
Get in line, buddy. Trump almost didn't do it, but he broke through. Now, I remember in 2016, I remember with the whole conversation of the establishment versus the anti-establishment and MAGA versus the rhinos. They were basically saying, if you recall, this is the end of the Republican Party. They're done. If you elect Trump, even if he wins or doesn't win, they are finished. It's so funny. 10 years later, Republican Party MAGA, as strong as they've ever been, and the Democratic Party is in shambles. So I hope Stephen A. Smith gets a seat at the table. I hope he has such a powerful voice. But you want to lose someone like that? You want to lose a Rogan? You want to lose an Adam Sosnick? That's crazy. Sorry, guys.
Devastating. Just gotta throw yourself in there.
Just saying.
All right, buddy, relax. This morning, I'm reading an article from 2017, Kellogg, okay? Kellogg School. Kellogg is known as one of the best marketing schools out there. Rob, if you can go to the story here. If you can just go to the story, click on the link below.
That's
watch
at
this
Northwestern,
one here.
is it not?
It's a very, very, very respectful school. Sitting near a high performer can make you better at your job. It's called a spillover from certain coworkers can boost our productivity or jeopardize our employment. What are they saying? Go a little bit lower to read this a little closer. The people we sit near at work inevitably impact our day. They may brighten our mood or drive us crazy. So for me, like I have a problem here, right? 25. What's more, our work neighbors can actually change how we do at our jobs. Researchers looked at the 25-foot radius around high performers at a large technology firm and found that these workers boosted performers in coworkers by 15%. That spillover, positive spillover, translated into an estimated $1 million in additional annual profits, according to new research from Dylan Miner, an assistant professor at managerial economics and decision sciences at Kellogg. Now watch this here, how this continues. So 25 feet radius, 15% positive, okay? Watch the opposite. The flip side is that bad eggs impact their neighbors too. Negative spillovers from so-called toxic coworkers is even more pronounced, sometimes having twice the magnitude of impact on profits as positive spillover. Yet, while this toxic spillover happens very quickly, it also dissipates almost immediately once that worker is either fired or relegated to the far physical reaches of the company. You can stop with the story here. What is this story about? If you think about a lady this morning, Crystal, who her and I Minnect a lot, she Minnected me today to speak to her son, 13-year-old son. I've met him before. So I sent him a message this morning on the drive here, talking to him about what it is to be 13 years old. Yeah, I've been talking to my boys right now about a book I'm reading called Aggressive Girls and Clueless Boys. Every father with boys has to read this book because nowadays girls are approaching guys about sex and flirting versus it used to be the other way around. We had to. Today, girls are the ones that are more aggressive. If you have a son, do whatever you can. Don't look at the ratings. Just go read this book. It's 80 pages. You must read this book. Every parent, it's very necessary for you to read this book. It's 136 pages. So I'm talking to this kid about one of the most basic things you can do in life at early ages to win is choose your friends wisely. Later on in your career, one of the best things you can do in your life is choose your bosses, the company you work with, and your coworkers wisely. You do, you'll grow. You'll do better. You don't, you'll hate the company. You'll hate your boss. You'll be angry at everybody. You'll be walking on eggshells like, oh my God, I can't believe this. And you're thinking it's you, it's somebody else. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people in life are crap magnets. There are people that purely are crap magnets. They cannot help themselves but constantly attract negativity and problems in your life. You got to do whatever you can to avoid those folks. But if you can simply decide to attract better people in your life can improve in every possible way. Many years ago, I wanted to learn how to be a better networker. There was a guy I would work a room with, and I would watch this guy. I'm like, oh my God, this guy's a great networker. I'd never seen a networker like this before. This guy was a former hairstylist for Diana Ross and Michael Jackson, and he would go into a room, and it was like, boom, he went from this guy to that guy to this guy to this guy to that guy, and then all of a sudden we're in the office of the CEO's room. I'm like, how the hell did this guy do it? Couldn't believe how the guy would network. What's the moral of the story? Networking has changed. There's been an evolution to networking. But for us, I took many of those things I learned many years ago, and I applied it in business, in raising money, in getting in rooms, and getting guests on the podcast, and recruiting folks who became presidents of the company, CTOs, technology investors, raising money. But the ability to network is so critical today because there's an element of networking that's also networking and finding your peer group, your friends. There's 8 mistakes people make when it comes down to networking. Next Tuesday at 3 p.m., Tuesday, March 4th, at 3 p.m., I'm going to give you a PDF of the 8 mistakes people make on networking. On this webinar that I'm hosting, you can go to vtwebinar.com to register. Again, vtwebinar.com to register. You're going to get those 8 mistakes. Trust me, you want to know what these 8 mistakes are because it's do's and don'ts that we'll cover on that podcast and that on that Zoom. It's a 1-hour Zoom, free for everybody. And I'll share the evolution of networking tools. And also on that webinar, I'm going to give you 3 updates. Massive, massive new features on Minnect that I'm so excited about, and an opportunity for some of you guys to come and join us at Kentucky Derby. So go to VT Webinar, register for it, and I look forward to seeing you there next Tuesday, the 4th, at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Registered. We'll see you there. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.